Welcome, 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 and good evening. Welcome to Project Instigate. Today's seminar is all about letting go of anxiety. We have a very special guest speaker today, and I will give you her introduction. My name is Fatima. I'm a TEDx speaker, leadership expert, and founder of Project Instigate. I'm also a board director of KPU Alumni Association and member of Mayor's Task Force on Inclusion, Diversity, and Accessibility. Through Project Instigate, my passion is to help individuals become leaders by empowering and inspiring them to create positive changes in their lives and their community, achieving success, living in alignment with their values. I believe in creating a strong community where you feel a strong connection to the people around you and a sense of belonging like no other, and the trust to help you reach your goals and achieve success. Now, anxiety is something that we all have goals, we have dreams, but anxiety is something that sometimes gets in our way. A little bit of it sometimes can help motivate us, but too much of it can become paralyzing. Today we have an amazing speaker. Her name is Gurjeet Minhas. She's a registered nurse, a faculty member at Kwantlen Polytechnic University's nursing department. She has worked at Surrey Memorial Hospital for 20 years. And she's also a certified hypnotherapist and an expert in using energy therapies to help individuals overcome stress and anxiety. One of her passions is helping women through childbirth, and her organization is Joyous, Childbirth and Prenatal Preparations, with 30 plus years of experience from India, Australia, New Zealand, US, and Canada, assisting pregnant and laboring women and postpartum women. Her passion, or what she really cares about, is the rising C-section rates. And she teaches the Joyous Birth prenatal classes for pregnant women, where she shares valuable information and techniques on how they can maximize their own strength and build their capacity to have an easy childbirth with minimal drugs and interventions. She offers online prenatal classes as well as personal consultations for stressful issues with pregnancy. So, Gurjeet, we will talk about anxiety in just a second, but I would love for you to share a little bit about yourself and what got you interested in nursing, and specifically what got you interested in helping women. And I guess the burning question here is, what is the big deal with reducing C-sections? Why is that important? If you could tell us a little bit more about that, that would be great.
Yes, thank you, Fatima, and thank you to everyone who's here listening. I promise you that, you'll get such good information and such wonderful techniques that you can apply into your life, and your anxiety will be a thing of the past. And anytime anxiety comes up, you'll be able to deal with it. So talking about how I got into nursing, I was actually not sure which profession I should choose. And I have to say something funny. You all might just, be amused. Actually, my parents decided, they said nursing is a good profession and we think you should become a nurse. And I was like the obedient child. And so I said, okay. And truly, that's how I joined nursing.
What got you interested in helping women through childbirth? You can go right ahead and answer that question, followed by why you are passionate about minimizing C-sections.
Yes. So first of all, going back to my childhood, I still remember the day when my little brother was born, and I was just 5 years old, and it's an unforgettable experience. We went to see the little baby, and I saw my mom in a lot of pain. She was moaning and groaning, and at that young age, I couldn't understand what was happening, but all I knew was that she was in a lot of pain. And so, of course, being the child that I was, I started playing with my baby brother and, looking at the little toes and hands and being so happy. But at the back of my mind, it was ingrained that childbirth is so painful. And so sometimes, these early experiences can carry through your life, and they're so deeply embedded in your subconscious, you don't even realize, how they direct your life. And they almost direct what you do and what you don't do. So I found myself attracted to, obstetrics, even in my nursing profession, like in the final year. There was something about childbirth that just drew me in. And then I had my own childbirth experience, really painful, traumatic. And I thought, I'm a registered nurse. Come on, things should be better for me. But you know what? At the end of the day, if you have these anxieties and, these fears and emotions coming in your way, I found that the energy doesn't flow freely in your system. And so that can cause a lot of problems. And it's the same with people. It's not just pregnancy. You can translate it to any age. The experience of anxiety, the feeling of having these fears is a common denominator.
Very, very interesting. And sometimes you remember why these traumas and pains came from. Sometimes you don't remember where they came from. But it's interesting how they shape and mold our opinions. So can you tell us a little bit about how this anxiety that women feel going through childbirth or any related anxieties, how is this transferable to anxieties in other situations, whether it's students dealing with anxiety around mental health, dealing with anxiety around working professionals, and job-related stress and all that? How does anxiety relate? Is it all different anxieties? What's the difference between different anxieties?
There's not a one cookie cut answer to that, but all I can say in a nutshell is that it influences the quality of your life. It's the difference between being a success and being a failure. So anxiety can actually cripple you. It's that important. So you really need to have tools in your toolbox that you can implement right away and, get out of that anxious state and be able to function, effectively, efficiently, or, cope with whatever's going on. And like you mentioned, sometimes this anxiety comes from nowhere. You don't even know, why you suddenly started feeling anxious. And that's, before we get into the presentation, that's because sometimes we pick up on other people's anxieties and people don't know that this is, like we are like sponges. A person near us has anxious thoughts, we pick it up. We are like telecommunication towers, right? Sort of. So we pick up on other people and we think it's our own, whereas actually it's not our own. We picked it up. That's a pretty common form that I see nowadays. And sometimes it's like we discussed, events in your past, in your childhood, events like, which you've totally forgotten influencing you.
Okay, yeah, I absolutely agree. I know in terms of anxiety, when I first learned to drive, I was very anxious about driving on the highway, and I didn't know why. I didn't know why I'm scared of driving on the highway. I just was, but I had never driven on the highway before because I had just learned to drive. So how could I have this anxiety before even ever being on a highway as a driver? And then it was eventually that I realized that I had picked up that anxiety from a different family member of mine. So very, very interesting. So sorry, I have to ask this question. Is there a difference between anxieties though? So for example, an anticipating mother versus a business owner versus a student who has an exam the next day. Is there a difference between these anxieties, or is that just going to be part of the presentation?
On one level, they're the same because of the way they affect our bodies. But on the other level, it's the thought process that is different. A student might think of, different factors like the exam, they haven't studied, what have you. The pregnant woman might think of, she's heard these horrible stories from her friends and, relatives as to how they went and it was so awful and they had to have this and that, an epidural, and then go for a C-section. And then, a business person might think, oh, what if my business fails and flops? Will I reach my audience? Like everyone has their own thought process going, and that contributes to the anxiety. But the effects, let me tell you, the effects are also not the same. One person might have, say, a digestive issue. The other person might start having headaches. Another person might have weight loss. So it comes up also in different ways. So these are basically amazing ways which we are going to go over. Initially, we'll just discuss what anxiety is and how it affects us, and then we'll get into the, the actual valuable content, the tools that you can take away from today's presentation. And they're amazing. And it's not like one tool can be used for everybody. I'm going to give you 3 tools, and then if there's time, I'll give you my favorite tool. Basically, you want to try the one that works the best for you. So with that, we'll get started. So I know that you're here because for this presentation, because either you feel anxious sometimes, most of the time, or you have somebody in your life who feels anxious and you really want to help them, but you don't know how. And so that's what we're going to get into today. So in this presentation, you're going to learn what anxiety is and where does it come from? How do you recognize the signs and symptoms of anxiety? And you will walk away with 2 powerful long-term strategies to help you. And you will get 3 on-the-spot strategies or techniques that work like gangbusters. So these are all tried and tested. Like I've experienced them, used them in my life, and I know that they work. So what is anxiety? It's a feeling of fear or apprehension about what's to come, and you think that something bad is going to happen. And at times it isn't easy to figure out. And sometimes it just keeps adding and adding and adding until one day you're like, enough, I just can't take it. And that's what we call, like, free-floating anxiety, panic attacks. Those are the words we use for those experiences. Now, where does it exactly come from? I'm just going to leave it up for a minute, and then you can, just go, oh, maybe my anxiety is a traumatic event. Maybe I've been just observing other people and picking up. Maybe it's genetics or the way my parents brought me up. There are so many different ways we can pick up on anxiety and experience it. And it's different from everyone. Like I mentioned before, if you look at this, I would like you to type in the chat, what are the experiences that you have when you're anxious? So when they become anxious, what are the feelings they have?
Okay. Someone says heart racing, bad headaches, sweating underneath my arms, depression, nausea, headache, racing thoughts, sleeplessness, jitters, heart hurts.
So see, everyone is experiencing it differently. And the bottom line is it could be a physical symptom like heart racing, sweating, it could be an emotional, like they start feeling some sensation, and that feeling is so horrible that they just can't take it anymore. So that's emotional. They might start crying. They might suddenly feel very sad. They might just feel so scared. So that's the emotional component. And behavioral is, like you have seen in the picture there, they can be avoiding people. Like something happens, they just go into their room and lock themselves in. That's it. They're done. Like they can't interact anymore. So those are sort of the behaviors which are not accepted by our society, but people, when they're that anxious and they just can't take it, then they get into these avoidance behaviors and they try to escape from the situation they're in. And some may even faint. Like today, I just want to share with you, I was in clinical with my students, nursing students, and I had one student, she literally went cold and clammy. She became pale as a sheet. She was about to do some procedure with the patient, and she just, like, we had to quickly hold her, otherwise she would have fallen to the ground. She took a while to recover. We gave her juice, etc., and then she recovered. And then she did share a bit that she was very scared. So scared, anxiety, these can mask, they come out. People don't know it's anxiety. They express it in different ways. So that's the behavioral aspect. So good, like that's perfect. And it can have benefits also. Like if it's like anxiety can be a little bit like a mild form of anxiety. It can be moderate, or it can be like free floating anxiety out through the roof, can't take it. So when it's a little bit anxiety, that's okay, right? We know that this is going to help us, and it motivates us to do something. Like, see, we have a project, so it motivates us to actually work for that. If we didn't have any anxiety, we couldn't care less, then the work wouldn't get done, and the project would be a disaster, of course. So this little bit of anxiety motivates us, and we get going. So it can have those sort of benefits also. But in general, anxiety is not a pleasant experience. And so it's like there's a little bit that comes out, but inside the person, it's huge. Like what shows up is just the tip of the iceberg, and the feelings and the experiences that go on internally are huge, and that nobody recognizes. So the last thing you want anyone to tell you is, get over it. Like, come on, it's nothing. Don't be scared. Don't be bothered. That doesn't help them, right? Because they are scared, they are worried, and they don't know what to do. So they're at a loss. They think, what should I do now? What should I do now? And now let me say one thing, that it also depends on what you believe. If you believe that, no one on earth can help me, my anxiety is special, this is incurable, it's very difficult, not possible, then you're sort of programming your conscious and subconscious, because being a hypnotherapist, I do know that the subconscious is at play most of the time. And so it's important to deal with your beliefs, the systems, and what you're saying to yourself on a consistent basis. Are you repeating to yourself that, yes, people have resolved their anxiety issues and so can I, right? It's not the end of the world. People have overcome such big, huge hurdles in their life. And what is anxiety? I can overcome it, and there are ways to manage anxiety. Then it's possible. So just a little brief, overview, because it affects your social interaction with people, the way you think, the way you feel, and the way you experience. And even some people have, called in sick. They can't go to work because they're experiencing a panic attack. So obviously, if you keep experiencing panic attacks on a daily basis, you're not going to be able to function in life. And friends and family start avoiding you. Oh, she's just that way. She's not social. She gets anxious all the time. And so they sort of make excuses and avoid you. You avoid them and they avoid you. And that's not a good place to be. What I have here is just strategies for handling anxiety. Because I know when people experience anxiety, there are different things they do. It's about like, how do you cope with anxiety so far? Like, what is it that you love to do, or what is it that helps you?
So far we have someone said dancing, journaling, taking pictures.
Taking pictures, okay.
Yeah. For me personally, I have recently become introduced to flotation therapy, floating on salt water or Epsom salt water. That
Very
I found
good.
to be very calming personally. Nature walks, someone says, belly breathing meditation, dancing,
Yes.
shaking, going outside.
Yes, going out into nature. And talking of these flotation therapy, we now have these therapies available for the common man. Of course, because of COVID, things are closed and all that. But otherwise, we have these saltwater therapy centers where you can just sign up for a month, and then you can practically go every day and float on the salt water, or you can even sit on the rock salt, and that sort of also absorbs your negativity and gets you to a calm, relaxed state. So salt.
Yeah. We also have getting fresh air, and it seems like a lot of people are interested in going out, getting fresh air, and I think COVID has really pushed people and encouraged them in some ways as well to get out and get some fresh air. And a lot of people who weren't used to going out and getting fresh air before were just tired of being at home, and then when they went out, they're like, oh, they actually discovered something new. They discovered a way of dealing with anxiety that they didn't know of before.
Yes, I totally agree. And on that note, I just want to say, it's not in my PowerPoint, but people can explore the pranayams of yoga, like the alternate nostril breathing. Huge benefits. It calms, like, no matter how anxious you are. Like, I'm just talking about 3, but there are multiple techniques that you can use, and very, very powerful. I personally do use Anulom Vilom. It's called alternate nostril breathing. Very powerful breathing technique. It sort of balances your energy and your anxiety is gone. So on that note, for breathing is very, very powerful. And after all, we all need oxygen, right? To live and to breathe.
Yeah.
So oxygen can also calm your whole system.
And someone's mentioned actually something quite interesting. They said they manage their anxiety by keeping their social circle small. Can you talk about that a little bit? I think that's a very interesting concept.
Yes, I love that. And I think that what this person is trying to say, keeping your social circle small, is keeping it limited to the people who know you and want to support you. Because everyone around in this world is not willing to support you. You have people who are, they take pleasure in just dragging you down. Of course, you don't want to be, around those people, but if people whom you know, trust, and you know that they'll always, be assisting you, are the people you want in your social circle.
Mhm.
So that's a very strong point about social circle, limiting it and to the supportive people.
I guess if someone had a close social circle and that close social circle was actually a negative social circle and had bad energy, that would definitely exacerbate the anxieties, I would think.
Absolutely, absolutely. If the social circle could assist them, or they could just, get them down.
Yeah.
So
So question here is, someone asks, can these strategies also be applied to individuals who suffer from social anxiety?
yes, definitely you can use them. That's why I'm going to give you 3 strategies. And of course, all these that we are sharing, there's so much to choose from. So you have to pick and choose the one that works for you. So like strategies are multiple strategies. But if say meditation works for you, you choose meditation. If breathing works wonders for you, you get to breathing. And I'm going to share some very powerful ones. So just try them out as my recommendation. Whatever works for you is the one you use. And social anxiety, yes, for sure, it can be handled. So long-term strategies I'm going to talk about first. And meditation, people have already guessed and they're using it. It can calm you. But if you say, you know what, meditation, everyone talks about, I don't know what to do with meditation. When I sit down, I start thinking so much, right? I start thinking even more than I think otherwise. And people say that's sitting quietly is meditation. So then there are different ways. You can, I would say just simply focus on your breath. So your attention gets out of the mind into the body. So it's the breath that you're watching, the breathing in and out. Or you can simply, light a candle and just keep looking at the candle. This is a yogic technique that, just helps your mind to focus, and then you get into a very calm, relaxed state. So meditation also is, there's many ways of meditating. So again, try out and say, oh yeah, when I looked at the candle, that worked for me. Try that. If just focusing on your breath works for you, try that. That's what I would say. And now the next one I want to talk about is nutrition. So sometimes people don't realize, because now in this modern world, people are eating all sorts of, I would like to say junk food, and they're not getting the nutrition that their body needs. They're not getting the nutrition. They don't realize they're not getting the nutrition. And so their body starts getting into the stress mode, anxiety mode, because stress and anxiety are pretty similar. So they start feeling anxious many times. And I've noticed, I've had experience with many people, you change their diet, they sort of, start eating differently, start taking the supplements that their bodies are so deficient in, and suddenly they start feeling so much better. They're different people. And some of the ones that I've mentioned here, I'm going to talk a little bit about them. Magnesium supplement. Magnesium is actually a mood lifter. So if you're deficient in magnesium, you might experience anxiety symptoms. And then ashwagandha is a Ayurvedic herb, and it's supposed to be a big stress buster. So you take ashwagandha, and you can get it like different forms, tablet or like in a jar, or whatever way it's available. You can, find out about this herb and start taking that. That will help you big time. And sometimes, Fatima, I want to say that some people will be actually deficient in amino acids. Their protein, they're not taking enough protein. Like imagine if they're eating potatoes, fries, rice, and that's all they're taking. Where's the protein? They're not getting the protein. And amino acids are so important for our body functioning. Your body is not able to function at its optimal level. And so they start experiencing this anxiety. And they just start taking these proteins. So some will say, okay, yeah, but I don't like chicken. I'm not a meat eater. I'm a vegan. So where do I get my protein? Moringa. Have you heard of moringa?
No, I have
No?
not.
Moringa it's a leaf, moringa leaf. And it's one of the plants that has all the amino acids in it. So moringa, you can get it in a powder, you can get it in a capsule, whatever, you can get that. And you can start taking the moringa supplements, because I don't know, I don't want to say go get the leaves and then you're hunting around not finding the moringa leaves. it grows in climates that are warm. So sometimes in Canada, I don't know if we can be finding moringa leaves. So I would say just go for the supplements and teas or capsules or whatever is available in the market. I think moringa is moringa. They should. It should work very well for you.
Very interesting. And also, apologies if you've already mentioned this, but fats as well, right? Fats are important. A lot of people are going on low-fat diets, and it's as far as I'm not a nurse, but I do know that it's a big portion of what our brain's made of. So it's important for cognitive development.
Yes, and totally, because this is what I advise in my pregnancy classes too. Omega-3. Omega-3 supplements is absolutely essential. You can get these oils, oil of Udo, UDO. Oil of Udo is a supplement I personally use because it's got a mixture of these omega-3 oils, and so you get a really good, content. Then things like avocado, like go for those. Please don't, compromise on the healthy fats, because fats are required for the body to function. So when you don't take fats, then you start taking carbohydrates, and carbohydrates are actually sugar, right? The body is converting it into sugar. So you do want to go for healthy fats like these oils, oil of Udo or omega-3 supplements, avocado, foods like that. And if you look in this picture, there's a lot of raw foods. You see, because what is our diet? Mostly I would say, like, if I look at people's diets, it's 80 to 90% cooked food, and a little bit 2 or 3 leaves they'll eat, and they'll say, I'm eating salad. Now, what are those 2, 3 leaves going to do? Nothing. So, go in more for raw foods, nuts, and things like that. And that should really may get you on the path to recovery. So in addition to, just going, and thinking my anxiety is incurable, change your diet, add these supplements, and then see what happens.
Someone's mentioned ginger. This said they take ginger in either tea or ginger candy or ginger ale. Is there, I've always actually been curious. I mean, I've looked at ginger ale and it looks like it's barely any ginger and mostly sugar, but it does seem to help a lot of people. How is that?
It's like a carbonated drink, right? Even if you take any carbonated drink, you take it and then you sort of release gas and you think it's helping you. But trust me, ginger ale is so much sugar. You don't want all that sugar pumped into your system. So I'm not a fan of ginger ale, but ginger teas and all, they're good for digestion. Like they help your digestive system function better, is what I would like to say.
As someone says, carbs are my best friend.
Because they're so yummy. They're so yummy, right? Bread and cakes and all that. They're so tasty.
What about coffee?
Coffee
Black
is a
coffee.
stimulant. It's a stimulant. Some people like you, there are, diverse views on taking coffee, but at the end of the day, it's got caffeine, right? It's got a lot of caffeine, and that gives you that temporary lift and you start feeling good. And then, and then you sort of start becoming addicted to it, which getting addicted to anything is not good. So I won't say that coffee helps you in any way. It just temporarily gives you that little lift.
Thank you.
Yeah. So any other questions, Fatima, Joyce?
There's a question about, someone says they use lime juice squeezed in cold water. It energizes after having coffee. So there was a question around helping children with anxiety, how to do that. And then the other question was, what is the difference between stress and anxiety?
So stress and anxiety is sometimes used interchangeable. So it's just a level. And stress is sort of like, I would say, more severe form of anxiety.
We have more people sharing their ways of coping, like pet therapy, cats and dogs calm them down.
Absolutely. Pets are amazing.
Yeah.
That's why people keep, pets like cats and dogs, and some people keep frogs and little lizards and what have you. Whatever gives them comfort and, relaxes them is your pet. Yeah, I remember a family, they used to keep parrots.
No, I had parrots and I actually had to move my entire office because they didn't want to move. And so I couldn't do videos.
Oh, because they would be talking so much?
Yeah, they like to talk when I'm talking. They like to be part of all conversations. So it was actually
It's
becoming
funny
really
that I
hard.
said parrots. I didn't know about your parrot pets though.
Yeah, I got two little budgies.
Now we'll get into the powerful stuff that I promised to share the listeners today. And the first one is, which even the children can do and even adults can do, is simply standing on the grass, barefoot on the grass. Now, what this does is most of us living indoors are not grounded, and being ungrounded is one of the causes of anxiety. So when you ground yourself, you just imagine all your anxiety leaving through your bottom of your feet into the ground and is being absorbed by the earth and going away from you. It's like it's gone. So just imagine, like, when you do anything, I always say do it with intention. So you can be just walking aimlessly around, or you can say, oh, I'm going to stand on the grass and release all my anxiety. So the intention is there. You go outside, find a good spot of grass and stand on it barefoot, not with your chappals on, barefoot, and then imagine all the anxiety leaving you, and you feel so much better. And you can add to this hugging a tree. But if you don't have a tree around to hug, then just stand on the grass. Now, this second, the picture here is the anxiety walk technique. So what this is, you go for a walk, and whatever you're anxious about, the thoughts are coming. I wish, I wonder if this is going to happen. Why did that person say this? Why is he always so rude to me? Why does he make me feel small? Whatever thoughts are coming in your mind, you say them out aloud as you walk. So you're walking, you're saying those thoughts, then you stop, you say two, three thoughts, stop, take a deep breath, and then you close your eyes, and then when you open your eyes, focus on one thing. I've got this pretty picture of flowers and everything. So it could be a flower, it could be a leaf, it could be a shrub, it could be the pavement, it could be the sky. You just open your eyes and look at the first thing that comes into sight, and then yeah, that's the technique. Then you go on walking again, say out loud whatever the thoughts are coming, and you're speaking them out aloud. By speaking them out aloud, you're eliminating them out. So this is the anxiety walk technique. You say them out loud, take a deep breath, focus on something, whatever you see, and go walking again. This is also pretty powerful. And of course, you're walking in nature. You're not walking around the house, right? Inside the house. You're walking outside in nature.
So basically, get out of the house is the answer.
Yes, get out of the house and your thoughts out aloud. Don't keep the thoughts running in the head. Give them a voice and send them their way.
Mhm. Are you able to demonstrate how one would do that?
Yes. So say I'm walking. I just got out of my front door and I walked. And if you're not able to get out of the front door, if the anxiety is not allowing you to leave the house, you can try the other techniques that I'm going to share and then go out of the house. Okay. So I address this because some people are anxious. They're not able to leave the house. So then they say, okay, this walk is okay, but I can't even go out, right? So how am I going to do this walk? So get yourself to a position where you leave the house, start walking, and then all the thoughts in your head have got to be verbalized. So say what you're thinking is, I wonder if that person is going to come home. I wonder that person is going to come home. You say it aloud. You're thinking and speaking. And then you close your eyes and then take a deep breath, open your eyes and look at the first thing that you see. Focus your attention there. Then you start walking again. Then some other thought comes. You stop, you speak that out aloud, and then close your eyes, take a deep breath, open your eyes, focus on another, maybe a leaf or a flower or whatever comes in front of you. You focus your attention there. Then you start walking again. So as you're walking, you're just getting these thoughts out of your system.
So is it like replacing calmer thoughts with the other ones?
You just eliminate the ones that are bothering you, and the calmness will come. It's not like you've got to start thinking of something else. Whatever is bothering you, get it out.
Verbalize it.
Verbalize it. That is the answer.
Okay.
right? So if we're clear on this, we're going to jump into another powerful, I want to ask you if anyone has heard the term Djinn Jutsu. I learned it like, I've done so many courses and everything, and that's why like the techniques I have to share are so powerful and so simple, so simple. You've heard this, many people say that your health is in your hands, right? And so you think, oh, maybe reflexology. I mean, there's so much you can do with your hands, acupressure, you name it. But this here is Djinn Jutsu, an ancient Japanese technique. And all you have to do is hold your fingers. So you notice sometimes, people unconsciously, they'll just be holding one finger or the other and they are sitting. And sometimes they'll be holding more fingers or one finger or, just like that, they'll be just sitting. And you wonder, it's the natural body's natural mechanism for stress relief. So let's look at what Djinn Jutsu is and how it can help you. And for people who want to know more, now that you know about Djinn Jutsu, you can also Google and research it even more. There's lots, it's a whole science. It's a whole science on its own. So all these fingers, I'll just go over it very briefly. Every finger that we have has a purpose. So the thumb stands for anxiety, stress, and tension. So the thumb is a really good finger to hold when you say, like you're stressed out, you're not able to sleep, you have headaches, which you know are due to stress. And also when you sit a lot, say your job is sitting at the computer all day, you sit a lot. So then make it a practice to just hold your thumb. And it's so simple. You don't have to put pressure. You don't have to massage it. You don't have to do any of those fancy things. Just hold your thumb. Simple. And not much pressure, just simple hand holding the thumb. And you can hold any hand. You can just simply hold the thumb and sit down. And how do you sit down? Like, do you sit down forever? No, just 2 to 3 minutes, or till you feel a throbbing sensation, right? Till you feel a throbbing sensation, or 2 to 3 minutes, and then you start feeling much calmer. So children, you can instruct them, okay, when you go to school and you start feeling anxious, just simply sit down and hold your thumb. Simple, right? They can do that. And then if you look at this index finger, it's for fear. So if you're afraid of something, you can just hold the index finger there like this. And it also is helpful for anxiety too. So if 2 fingers I want to give you are the thumb and the index finger. So you can just, same thing, just hold them gently. That's all you need to do. Any questions? And if you look on the picture that I have, the middle finger is for actually frustration, anger, and it's no wonder, when people give you the middle. Sorry, I don't want to laugh like that, but it's, I don't know if they knew Djinn Jutsu or they just did it naturally. And the ring finger is for depression. And you see, it's not just physical symptoms, it's relationships and breathing and so many other things. And that's why people wear the wedding band on the ring finger. So now that I look back, I say, oh my gosh, Djinn Jutsu knew this thousands of years ago, and people are using it without even knowing, right? So, yeah. And then the little finger is also when you're trying hard, and little finger also helps for anxiety. But let's focus on just the thumb and the index finger for helping you.
Someone's asking about Chi meditation. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. Wondering if that's, no, it says just Chi meditation, CHI. If that's related to Djinn Jutsu. I'm sorry, I'm completely butchering the words, no, but if they're related or not.
No, I don't think it's related, because Djinn Jutsu has these finger holes. It has what's called safety locks. And I'm going to get into safety locks in the next slide. So I'll just be talking about 2 safety locks that you can use for anxiety. Safety locks is using hanging on or holding 2 parts of the body to give you the results. Mm-hmm. So this Chi meditation might be something else, but it's not related to Djinn Jutsu.
So how long do they hold the fingers or the thumb?
2 or 3 minutes, or till the throbbing. When you're holding it like that, after 2-3 minutes, your fingers will start throbbing like a pulsing sensation. So you know that yes, now I can let go.
Okay,
That's when your body gets balanced and energized and calmed. So this is really important, which you can do anytime. And nobody needs to know, right? You're sitting here holding your thumb or one finger. Nobody knows. They think you're just sitting there, doing nothing, but you're actually helping yourself. Now we'll talk about the safety locks. And I personally like the first one a lot. And this is when you're having, say, free-floating anxiety, panic attacks. Like the anxiety is too much to tolerate, or you're like, what shall I do? What shall I do? And nothing's helping me, nothing's helping me. So then you just sit down. There's a power in crossing your hands, like crossing your wrists. So you cross the wrists, your hands, and then if you can see, you might have to bend forward a little bit. And inside, this is the inside of your knees, just on the inside of your knees. If people are sitting and they want to try this, just to know how to do it, I would suggest you can just see and see if you're able to do it. So cross your hands at the wrist and hold the inside of your knees. So it can be a little bit above the knees, as you can see in the picture, but basically it's on the inside of the knees. And this will get your acute condition balanced right away. Right away means in 2-3 minutes.
So why is the crossing of the arms important?
Because the left and right hemisphere, the left brain is the analytic one, and so it has its own function. And sometimes we're more in the left brain, and sometimes we're more in the right brain. And the right brain is your feeling, creative, emotional brain. So this sort of, crossing is actually bringing a balance between the two brain hemispheres. So that's the reason why this crossing technique helps. Second picture, if you look in the previous picture, you'll notice that the palm inside here is to nourish everything and to bring it into balance. So that means you have to actually, put a finger or put your fingers in the palm for that balancing to happen. And so that's the that's the rationale for this next picture, the one that we have below here. You're just simply, with one hand, you're holding onto the wrist of the other hand. You're not doing any technique, just holding on, just holding the wrist of the other hand, and you are bending the fingers to, touch. So you're touching the point palms, which are going to get you into balance. And at the wrist, also you have your points that you're performing. This is called a safety lock. And there are 26 locks. And here I'm sharing only 2, the most powerful ones that I found. So you do this locking, and that will also calm you down. So fingers in the center of your palm, and with one hand, you hang on to the wrist, at the wrist area of the other arm. And of course, 2-3 minutes is the general. It's a rule of the thumb. If you need to hang on to it for 4 minutes, 5 minutes, please do so. And this is for your free-floating anxiety. Really, you experiencing difficulty in breathing, you think you're so nauseous, or choking, or something really severe.
So I have a question. This question's from me. I was wondering, I have some experience working with women who are fleeing abuse. And so in the arm technique where you grab wrist, could that possibly add to trauma if someone or this technique, if someone has experience being grabbed a certain way in the middle of a physical abuse?
I love this question. I just love this question. Remember what I said, all techniques will not work for anyone. Like, so I remember there was an occasion where I said, imagine that, you are near the beach and you are so relaxed, like in my sessions. And that person came back to me and said, you know what, I'm so scared of water. If I go to the beach, oh my gosh, I'm going to get into a panic state. And here I'm trying to relax them. So, if you have such connotations to that, then I would not advise you to do that. And no technique is like for everyone. Just like that relaxation didn't work for that person. And I'll tell you a funny story. Once I went to the market and I got a beautiful relaxing music tape. And I thought, oh, now I'm going to be in heaven listening to this relaxing music. So I turned it on and I was sitting there enjoying the music. And my husband walked in and he said, oh my gosh, can you turn that off? That's so irritating. And I thought I paid so much money for this tape, right? So he didn't like it, and I was enjoying it. So everyone's reaction is different. Everyone experiences things differently. That's
It's
all
the
I have to
story of my life. Well, other way around. My husband likes music and I don't like his taste in music.
say. So these are powerful things. And then let's try the third one, which I teach my students. And simply I teach them this whole brain posture, like I mentioned before, the left and right brain get into harmony, and then the flow of energy in your body is so harmonized and peaceful and balanced that you start feeling good. And this I learned from a person who teaches, she'd come from Portland to teach workshops. And as she was teaching the workshop, I sort of got into that panic state. I said, you know what, let's hurry, we're going to be late. And oh my gosh. And I was like, she said, Gurjeet, calm down. I said, yeah, calm down. But you know, we're getting late and I'm so anxious and I'm so worried. This is like about 10 or 12 years ago. So I said, oh, I'm so worried. Like, we have to make it on time. And she said, sit down. So I didn't want to sit down, but she made me sit down, and she made me sit in this whole brain posture. So I sat in the whole brain posture. You will not believe me. In 3 minutes, I was laughing loudly. I forgot all my anxiety that I had to go on time or what I had to do. I just didn't even realize. I said, yeah, it's okay. We'll make it. My thoughts changed. My anxiety left me, everything. Because this whole brain posture balances both your hemispheres and balances the energy. So your anxiety, anxiousness is out of the window. And I teach it to my students because it also helps you get into a state where you can focus and you can concentrate on your studies. And so that's really powerful. So helps with anxiety, helps with focus. So please, you can teach this to your children. If they're not, getting into the state where nothing is getting into their heads, you want them to get balanced. So just get them to sit in the whole brain for, again, 2-3 minutes, 4 minutes, sit in this, and then make them do whatever they're doing. Or if they're worked up, anxious, sit in the whole brain posture and your anxiety will leave you. That's why I have this picture here. And in this picture, you can find this person is all red, right? Very anxious, stressed out. And then he sits there. He doesn't want to do it like I was many years ago. And then he crosses his ankles. So if you notice, when you want to, at the end of the day, you want to come and relax, automatically you'll cross your ankles and you sit down. And sometimes you'll just cross your wrists also like this and sit down. So it's your body bringing you into a balanced state naturally without you even knowing it. But here we are going to do it consciously. So I would now, let me get through this. So this person, then he crosses his ankles, then he crosses his hands, then he gets into the whole brain posture, and then slowly there's a smile on his face, and then he's whistling and walking away.
Well, we are all sitting. Could we give that a try?
Yes.
I think most
So
of us
that's why I said, let's all do this together.
Okay.
Cross your wrists, clasp your hands, and bring your hands towards your heart and sit there. And I find like I just close my eyes and sit down and I just start breathing. Nothing special to do. If the thoughts are coming, let them come, because in 2-3 minutes those thoughts are going to change and they are going to become happy thoughts, different thoughts. Anxiety all gone. I love this technique. But and you might say, oh, I'm not feeling anxious, and I'm just like mimicking the thoughts in your head. I'm not anxious, I'm a little bit anxious. So whatever's going on, just go with it and see how it affects you, your thinking, your feeling. So generally I find 2 to 3 minutes is a really good time. And always when you're trying these techniques, it's a good idea to rate your anxiety on a scale of 0 to 10. How much is it? Then do the technique and then see the level again. How much is it that you feel? And at times you'll be surprised, it just comes to 0. And sometimes I notice when I'm sitting like this and just focusing on my thoughts, when the process is done, like when my body is in balance, then my eyes will automatically open once the body is like in its proper balanced state. So I just let the body do its own thing. So here we are working with the body to change our thoughts. So it's up to you if you feel any different, or you want to share whatever you're experiencing, you can
Yeah,
type it in.
for me, it kind of made me a little sleepy. I'm actually curious about what everyone else experienced. If you guys wanted to put it in the comment section, what was this exercise? Oh, someone says able to relax, peaceful. I'm thinking that this exercise may be a good one to combine with the standing on the grass one. You know, great for kids with anxiety. Yes. Yeah. So what did you guys experience? Feel like giving yourself a hug. Okay, that's nice. Yes, definitely. Cool. I've never done this technique before, so thank you. Actually, so far,
Very powerful.
everything I've learned, I mean, the grass one I knew about, but everything else so far is very new for me in terms of anxiety techniques.
And Fatima, sometimes you know these things, but you don't do them. Like
Yeah,
when you're,
yeah.
it's just a gentle reminder is sometimes all you need. Like, oh, let me just simply, I can't do anything. Let me stand on the grass. It's as simple. Or you can even Google whole brain posture, and because now that you know how powerful it is, there's not a whole lot of literature on it, but definitely you should be able to, find more information on it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also used by certain professionals. Like you pay them for the session and all, and then they make you do these strategies and then get you to a better place. So that's how you're introduced to them. They're not common knowledge, right? They're used by the few people who know about it. So if nothing works, you could have a medical condition. Remember, if you have, say, a heart palpitation or a heart condition or something, then you can't say, no, let me use the techniques by Gurjeet and do nothing else. It's not that way. You could have a medical, it could be a medical symptom, feeling those palpitations, etc. So please do go get yourself checked up, get your tests done, make sure that, nothing is out of whack in your body chemistry. And sometimes a little bit, if it's not a condition, like I said, like a heart condition, those little bit of things can also be remedied if you get your body into a relaxed state and let the body regenerate, recover by itself. Body has amazing powers of regeneration. It can recover if you allow it to. So getting yourself calm and peaceful will help the body to recover too. So that's what I want to say. So definitely seek help when it's required. And now for my favorite technique, the one that I use so often, and it's so simple. You're gonna, and don't be fooled by its simplicity. It works. I would say I use it all the time. So that should tell you how powerful it is. So you're feeling anxious, you're having all these feelings. And let me tell you, when you're having these feelings, you'll feel them in a part of a body. You either feel them as a headache, or you might feel them as a chest pain, or a tightness in the chest, or a tightness in the stomach, or even your ankle might start hurting. And anything that physical symptom that you experience when you're anxious, you focus on that symptom. So suppose I've got this tightness in this chest and I'm so anxious. So I focus on the tightness in the chest and I rate it on a scale of 0 to 10. If I rate it, I'm just giving you an example. If I rate it at a 9, it's so tight and so bothering me. It's a 9 out of 10. All I say is 9 times, you can leave now. This tightness in my chest, you can leave now. You can leave now. You can leave now. You can leave now. 9 times, you can leave now. This tightness in my chest, you can leave now. You can leave now. You can leave now. And at the end of 9 times, 9 times saying it out loud, all you say is, whatever you're experiencing, you can leave now. That's it. And you will be shocked and surprised that those feelings have gone. And you say, yeah, I'm not feeling that tightness anymore. It's not bothering me at all. And if it's still a little bit there, you can just say, all this remaining tightness, you can leave now. You can leave now. And it's totally at a 0.
So
The fastest, quickest.
Yeah. What's the significance of saying it 9 times, or the number 9?
It's the amount, it's the level that you experience. So say I was feeling it at a 5 out of 10 intensity. Then I could just say it 5 times. All this tightness in my chest. Now you can leave, now you can leave, now you can leave, now you can leave, now. 5.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Wow, that's powerful for sure. Yeah, so we have someone said, makes your mind focus on someone else, works amazing, on something else. So someone asks, so this is a question for Gurjeet. Do you recommend a specific strategy for social anxiety, social engagement?
I would say holding the thumb and, the holding the fingers should help you to calm down. And of course, like I mentioned, but I don't have it in the slide, the breathing will help you big time, like 2-3 minutes in the morning, 2-3 in the evening, in like outside, not breathing inside your home. You want to move outside your home and do the breathing in fresh air. So the alternate nostril should help to get you in a better state, and that will help the social anxiety too.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much. Actually, I learned a lot of new things about anxiety. I know over the last 5 years, I've been working in the area of homeless prevention, and a lot of the times people dealing with homelessness are going through chronic stress and anxiety and a lot of trauma. But also in my work as a leadership expert or leadership learning and growth strategist through Project Instigate, sometimes it's those things that anxiety can really hold someone back from getting to where they need to be from where they are. So definitely a lot of these techniques are really helpful. I want to thank everyone for coming today and for joining us. I wanted to share with you guys a few things that are coming up. First of all, I would really appreciate it if you guys did go to Gurjeet's Facebook page and gave her a good review on her Facebook page. It encourages our speakers to come back and stay connected to our community, and also it's a gesture of appreciation for their time and the knowledge that they share. The other thing I wanted to share is next month I am launching a program. It's called Power Forward to Success program. It is a group coaching and mastermind program. What it is a group coaching session where I help you work through your challenges and barriers and provide you with leadership skills and help you understand your values. And we also go through your leadership type as well as your learning style that's most dominant, and based on those we help you overcome your barriers. And it's a peer support type group that helps you reach your goals. This is especially ideal for you if you're a creator, whether you're creating a business, a nonprofit organization working on your professional development, or if you are working towards some kind of a community grassroots movement or a project that you're very passionate about. I'm looking for 7 people in specific. So 7 people who are very positive and want to come in and join this community from an open and giving heart. I know I was wanting to launch a program for women's success last month or this past month, but I actually decided to take a different approach. I've decided to open this up to both men and women who are entrepreneurs or working towards their professional development. And it's to help you accelerate reaching your goals and help you reach them much faster than you would on your own in a very supportive community environment. I will end today's session with a sincere gratitude. I hope you guys have a wonderful day and have a very empowered night. Thank you so much.